A few prisoners disappeared so completely that investigators still can't explain exactly how they did it. From impossible breakouts to fugitives who vanished without a trace, here are 10 prison escapes that were never fully explained. Number 10. The peanut butter escape. In 2017, inmates at the Walker County Jail in Alabama pulled off one of the strangest prison escapes ever. It didn't involve explosives, tunnels, or weapons. Instead, it started with something found in almost every prison cafeteria: peanut butter. One inmate smeared peanut butter over the number above an exit door. When a new correctional officer came by, he couldn't read the door number and mistakenly opened the outside exit instead of a cell block. The prisoners wasted no time. 12 inmates rushed through the open door, climbed over the fence using blankets, and scattered in different directions. Most were captured within hours, while the last escapee managed to stay free for several days before police caught him in another state. The escape itself wasn't impossible. The real mystery was how such a simple trick fooled prison security so easily. Number 9. Choi Gap-bok's impossible escape. Most prison doors have small openings where guards pass food trays through to inmates. They're only a few inches high and were never designed for anyone to fit through. Yet in 2012, South Korean inmate Choi Gap-bok somehow proved otherwise. Known for practicing yoga for years, Choi reportedly coated his body with lotion before attempting something that sounded physically impossible. Slowly, he squeezed his head, shoulders, and eventually his entire body through the narrow food slot beneath his cell door. Before escaping, he even arranged his blankets to make it appear he was asleep, giving himself valuable time before anyone noticed he was gone. Number 8. Omid Tahvili walked out the front door. Maximum security prisons are designed to stop escapes through walls, fences, and tunnels. But in 2007, Omid Tahvili didn't need any of those. Awaiting extradition to the United States, Tahvili allegedly bribed a prison guard with tens of thousands of dollars. Instead of sneaking out under cover of darkness, he simply changed into a janitor's uniform and calmly walked through the prison with the officer beside him. Security cameras captured the entire escape, leading to the guard's arrest almost immediately. Tahvili, however, had already disappeared. Authorities believe he received outside help, fake identification, and a carefully planned getaway. Despite international searches and multiple sightings over the years, no one has ever confirmed where he went. For someone who literally walked out the front entrance, he vanished more completely than prisoners who escaped through tunnels or helicopters. Number 7. Glen Stewart Godwin's double disappearance. Some prisoners escape once. Glen Stewart Godwin escaped twice. After being convicted of murder in California, Godwin was sent to Folsom State Prison, one of the country's toughest facilities. In 1987, he found a weakness in the prison's maintenance system. He cut through fencing, entered a drainage tunnel beneath the prison, and crawled hundreds of feet through complete darkness. When he finally reached the end of the tunnel, a raft was reportedly waiting on the nearby river. Someone outside clearly knew the plan. By the time guards realized he was gone, Godwin had already disappeared. 2 years later, authorities finally caught him in Mexico. It looked like his days on the run were over. Then the impossible happened again. While being held in a Mexican prison, Godwin escaped a second time. Details remain unclear, and investigators have never fully explained how he managed to defeat two completely different prison systems. Number 6. The Parkhurst Trio. In 1995, 3 inmates at Parkhurst Prison in England pulled off an escape so carefully planned that it embarrassed one of Britain's most secure prisons. Andrew Rogers, Keith Rose, and Matthew Williams all worked inside the prison workshop, where they had access to tools and pieces of metal. At some point, one of them managed to study a guard's master key long enough to memorize its shape. That alone sounds incredible. Even more unbelievable, they later crafted a working copy entirely from memory. The men also secretly built a ladder and hid it inside the prison until escape day arrived. Using the homemade key, they unlocked several security doors without raising suspicion, climbed over the walls, and disappeared into the countryside. Their original plan was even bolder. They intended to steal a small airplane and fly away from the island where the prison was located. Fortunately for authorities, None of them knew how to properly operate the aircraft. After failing to start it, they hid inside a garden shed for several days before an off-duty prison officer happened to recognize them. Even though the escape ended in recapture, investigators never understood how 3 inmates managed to recreate a master key simply by memorizing it. Number 5. Lester Eubanks walked away forever. Sometimes the biggest prison escape doesn't involve breaking out at all. In 1973, convicted murderer Lester Eubanks was considered a model inmate. Because of his good behavior, prison officials allowed him to join a supervised Christmas shopping trip at a mall in Ohio. Looking back, the decision seems almost unbelievable. The inmates weren't heavily restrained and weren't constantly watched. At some point, Eubanks simply walked away from the group and disappeared into the crowd. Police immediately launched a nationwide search, but it was already too late. Investigators believe someone may have been waiting outside to help him escape, but no evidence ever proved that theory. Over the decades, authorities received hundreds of tips from different states, each one leading nowhere. More than 50 years later, Lester Eubanks is still considered a fugitive. His disappearance remains one of the most puzzling prison escapes in American history because there was no tunnel, no violence,
I'm standing there and asked what he was doing if it was over.
He walked away,
but guilt,
was never seen again.
Or perhaps
Number 4. Leslie Arnold's new life. When Leslie Arnold escaped from the Nebraska State Penitentiary in 1967, authorities expected to catch him within days. Instead, he disappeared for decades. Arnold and another inmate carefully cut through the bars of a prison music room before making their way to the outer fence. After climbing over the prison wall, the 2 men ran in different directions. His partner was captured the following year, but Arnold simply vanished. For years, investigators chased reports that placed him across the United States. Every promising lead eventually went cold. What nobody realized was that Arnold had completely reinvented himself. He lived under several different identities, worked regular jobs, and eventually moved to Australia, where he quietly built a new life. The truth didn't come out until after his death in 2010. DNA testing finally confirmed that the respected man living overseas was actually the escaped prisoner authorities had been searching for since the 1960s. Number 3. Pascal Payet's helicopter escape. Most prisons prepare for tunnels. Some prepare for riots. Almost none prepare for a helicopter landing in the middle of the prison yard. French inmate Pascal Payet had already escaped once before, so officials constantly transferred him between high-security prisons. They believed moving him frequently would make another escape impossible. Instead, it inspired one of the boldest rescue missions ever attempted. In 2007, masked men hijacked a helicopter and forced the pilot to fly directly to the prison where Payet was being held. The helicopter landed inside the secure facility. The group rushed inside, reached Payet's location, and escaped within minutes. The stunned guards barely had time to react before the helicopter disappeared over the horizon. Authorities eventually captured Payet in Spain 2 months later, but the escape exposed major weaknesses in prison security. Even today, many people still wonder how such a carefully protected prison had no effective defense against an attack from the sky. Number 2. The Clinton Correctional escape. In 2015, 2 inmates pulled off one of the most famous prison escapes in modern American history. David Sweat and Richard Matt spent months secretly cutting through steel walls inside Clinton Correctional Facility in New York. The hacksaw blades they used were allegedly smuggled into the prison inside frozen hamburger meat by a civilian employee who had formed a relationship with one of the inmates. Night after night, they carefully widened holes behind their cells while hiding the damage from guards. When escape night finally arrived, they left fake heads in their beds made from paper, soap, and real human hair. During routine checks, officers believed both men were sleeping peacefully. Instead, the pair crawled through pipes, maintenance tunnels, and eventually climbed out through a manhole outside the prison walls. Although both men were eventually located after a massive manhunt, investigators still debate how they managed to work on the escape for months without prison staff discovering the operation. Number 1. The Alcatraz mystery. No prison escape has created more questions than Alcatraz. In June 1962, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin attempted what many believed was impossible. For months, they secretly chipped away at the ventilation openings behind their cells using homemade tools. Every night, they hid the damage with carefully painted fake walls. Before escaping, they placed lifelike dummy heads made from soap, toilet paper, and real hair on their pillows so guards would think they were asleep. After climbing through maintenance corridors, they reached the roof and launched a homemade raft built from dozens of stolen raincoats. Then they disappeared into the freezing waters surrounding Alcatraz. Search crews found pieces of the raft and a few personal belongings floating in the bay, but no bodies were ever recovered. Did they drown in the powerful currents? Or did they actually survive and begin new lives under different identities? More than 60 years later, investigators still cannot answer that question with certainty. And that mystery is exactly why the Alcatraz escape remains the most famous unexplained prison breakout in history.